3-2 on penalties. It doesn't even sound real when you say it out loud, does it? Crystal Palace, the club that once looked happy just to be invited to Wembley, now walking out with another piece of silverware in their hands. First, the FA Cup in May, now the Community Shield in August. It's like someone hit the fast-forward button on their fairy tale, except instead of skipping to the end, we're watching them just keep winning big games they're not supposed to win. And the way it happened, twice coming from behind against Liverpool, the reigning Premier League champions, a team with £250 million of shiny new toys on the pitch. It had the kind of plotline you'd expect in a sports movie, except even Hollywood would have thought some of it was too on the nose. Salah skying his penalty into orbit? Henderson, Palace's Henderson, not Liverpool's, turning into a penalty-swatting machine? And then Justin Devenny, the 21-year-old sub, stepping up with the deciding kick like it was just another Tuesday at training. There's this moment after his penalty hits the net where you can see it register in the players' faces. They've just beaten Liverpool again at Wembley. And it's not a fluke. Not a lucky bounce. Not Liverpool had an off day. No, Palace made them uncomfortable all afternoon, chased them, pressed them, punished their mistakes. And when Liverpool tried to shut the door, Palace just kept kicking until the hinges came off. But what makes this so surreal is how much tension was baked into it from the start. The mood in the stadium before kickoff wasn't exactly warm and fuzzy. The minute's silence for Diogo Jota and his brother interrupted. Then Liverpool fans booing the national anthem. You could feel the air get heavier, tighter, and in that atmosphere you knew every tackle, every challenge was going to carry a little extra edge. Liverpool came in looking like they wanted to use this as a statement. Look at our new signings. Look at what we're going to be this season. And for about 4 minutes, they nailed it. Ekitike, on his debut, doing this gorgeous swivel and finish into the bottom corner. It was so clinical it almost made you forget it was the Community Shield and not a Champions League knockout game. For a moment you thought, oh, okay, this could get ugly for Palace. But here's the thing. Palace didn't blink. They didn't even seem rattled. They just waited for Liverpool to overreach, and then they took their chance. Van Dijk making a clumsy challenge on Sarr in the box. Mateta steps up, cool as you like, and it's level again. You could see the Palace end absolutely erupt. Smoke bombs, scarves in the air, songs about defying UEFA's decisions. The whole thing felt like an uprising. Of course, Liverpool went and got their lead back with one of the weirdest goals you'll see all year. Jeremy Frimpong misshits what looks like a cross, and it somehow spins over Henderson into the far corner. Henderson's face said it all. You've got to be kidding me. And yet, even at that point, with Liverpool back in control, there was something about the way Palace were playing. They were in the game. They were still biting at ankles, still believing. The second half would turn into an even wilder swing of moments, but at full time, standing there with that 3-2 shootout scoreline in your head, it just felt deliciously absurd. Palace, of all teams, outlasting Liverpool on penalties, their goalkeeper the hero, their young sub the match winner, Wembley's becoming their personal playground. And that's the thing. This wasn't just a win. It was another page in a growing legend. A team who's been told for decades that they're small time, suddenly showing up to the big occasions and saying, no, we belong here. You could almost hear the disbelief mixed with pride in the Palace fans' voices as they sang after the final whistle. It's the kind of match you'll tell someone about years from now, and they'll raise an eyebrow like, really? Palace beat Liverpool at Wembley for the Community Shield? And you'll just grin and say, yeah. And you should have seen how they did it. 4 minutes. That's all it took for Liverpool to pull the pin and lob the first grenade into Palace's afternoon. It starts on the left. Milos Kerkez and Florian Wirtz, two of the new kids playing the kind of one-touch football that makes you think they've been doing it together for years. Wirtz takes it on the half-turn, and before you can even clock Ekitike's run, the pass is sliding into his feet. Back to goal, pressure on his shoulders, and he just shrugs it all off. A little swivel, a smooth touch, and then that strike, low, far corner, past Henderson before the Palace keeper can even start thinking about getting down. Wembley roars, the Liverpool fans already looking smug, and Palace have barely put a foot on the ball. And you think, this could be long. But then something flips. The thing about Palace lately is they've stopped doing that wide-eyed, oh dear, we're at Wembley act. They get stung, but they don't sulk. They sniff out a mistake and turn it into a meal. 10 minutes later, Van Dijk gifts them the chance. He's chasing Sarr into the box, and you can almost see the thought bubble above his head saying, don't foul him. And then, clumsy contact, leg across, Sarr goes down, ref points straight to the spot. No drama, no hesitation. Mateta steps up. He's smiling, actually smiling, as if he's ordering dessert instead of facing down Alisson. Sends him the wrong way, side netting, pure composure. 1-1. Palace fans in full voice, red and blue scarves punching the air. You could feel Liverpool's annoyance from the other end. Like, how dare you answer back so quickly? The reply from Liverpool is bizarre. 21st minute, Frimpong on the right, driving towards the byline. Looks like he's about to dink a cross into the mixer, except the cross catches some weird spin and sails. No, drifts over Henderson's head and into the far side of the net. For a half second, everyone's waiting for the whistle, assuming something must be wrong. Nope, goal given. Frimpong's not even celebrating like he meant it. Just that sheepish, yeah, I'll take it grin. Liverpool 2-1 up, Palace shaking their heads. From there, the half becomes a blur of almosts. Wirtz weaving into space like he's playing tag with traffic cones. Salah, oddly quiet but popping up just enough to nearly send Gakpo through, only for Henderson to snuff it out. Palace's own chances bubbling. Sarr whipping balls in that have Liverpool's backline scrambling, Mitchell sneaking into space at the back post and volleying wide when he really should have made Henderson sweat. And there's this little sequence that sticks in my mind. Eze picking the ball up in midfield, gliding past two challenges, sliding it to Munoz, who whips it in, and nobody's there. It's like the invitation went out, but everyone missed the memo. By the time the half drifts into stoppage time, Liverpool have settled into that possession-hogging rhythm they love. Jones dropping deep, Kerkez and Wirtz combining again down the flank, Frimpong cutting inside to blast over. It's not crushing domination, but it's enough to keep Palace just a step behind, always chasing shadows. Still, even at 2-1 down, there's that edge. Henderson's punting the ball out of play with frustration, Guéhi barking orders. Glasner pacing the technical area like he knows this isn't over. And in the stands, the Palace fans haven't shut up once. They've seen their team claw back already. What's another goal? It's the kind of half where you can feel the second 45 simmering already. Liverpool have shown their shine, Palace have shown their bite, and neither of them look ready to back off. Liverpool come out for the second half like they've been told to finish the job early. You can see it in the way they press. Frimpong higher, Wirtz drifting into pockets, Kerkez flying forward from left back like he's on some kind of personal time trial. Within a minute, Gakpo's tearing down the flank, rolling it back for Kerkez, who pings it to the back post. Ekitiki's there, eyes on the headlines, and somehow heads wide. Henderson didn't even have to move. It should have been the moment that broke Palace, but instead it wakes them up. Mateta's chasing lost causes, Sarr's squaring up his fullback again and again, and Wharton starts threading passes that make you wonder if Liverpool actually remembered to bring a midfield with them. But still, the champions keep carving openings. Wirtz into Ekitike again, lovely little low cross, begging for a finish, but Ekitike leans back and blasts into the stands. The Liverpool bench all doing that head in hands. How is this not 3-1 routine? You get the sense they're going to regret it. Palace's first real jab of the half comes out of nothing. Wharton steals it off Szoboszlai, bursts forward, slides it to Eze. Eze squares up his man, smashes it near post, and Alisson, sharp as a blade, kicks it away. The save rattles Liverpool a little. Suddenly, Guéhi's winning headers, Richards is stepping into midfield, and Sarr is darting in behind. There's one ball floated in. Mateta gets a touch. Sarr goes full Superman trying to head it, but it just drifts past him. That's inches from being level. Liverpool respond by trying to suffocate the game. They pull Gakpo back into a defensive role when Palace have the ball, almost a back six at times, Jones tucking into close lanes. It works for a while, until that moment in the 77th minute. It's Wharton again. Sees Sarr starting his run, threads a pass so perfect it should be in a museum. Sarr takes it. One touch heavy, almost lets Alisson close the angle, but bends it anyway. Off the inside of the post in. Wembley's noise just erupts. Liverpool players waving at the ref, saying there was a foul in the build-up. Doesn't matter. 2-2. Palace fist-pumping, bench going wild. Glasner screaming calm at his team while clearly being anything but calm himself. From that point, Liverpool's control is gone. Salah suddenly alive, finally getting a clean sight at goal, only to smack it straight at Henderson. Palace smell blood. Mateta lashes over from inside the box, the Palace fans groaning but still singing. And then there's the handball shout. Long ball to Sarr. He shoots. It smacks McAllister's arm. It's away from his body. It's obvious. But the Czech says no. The Palace bench is livid, fans pointing at the big screen, muttering about conspiracies. You just know if they'd lost? That's all anyone would have talked about. The final minutes are chaos. Guéhi limping off, Devenny coming on, maybe for a penalty, and then almost winning it with the last kick, dragging his shot just wide. Salah nearly gets a toe to a Robertson cross, but Henderson's off his line like a sprinter to smother it. The whistle goes and it's penalties. You feel the adrenaline drain out of the players and get poured straight into the stands. The Liverpool fans chanting, "You'll never walk alone," Salah stepping up first and absolutely launching it into the stratosphere. Somewhere over North London, there's a ball still traveling. From there, it's a blur. Mateta scores, Henderson saves from McAllister, Alisson keeps Eze out, Gakpo equalizes, Sarr tucks his away, Henderson saves from Elliott. Sosa misses for Palace, Szoboszlai buries his, and it's all down to Devenny. 21 years old, barely on the pitch 20 minutes. He walks up, calm as you like, sends Alisson the wrong way, and that's it. 3-2 on penalties. Liverpool's new era, temporarily halted. Palace's improbable summer, extended. Wembley, once again, theirs. Dean Henderson. Let's start there because, honestly, where else could you start? The man has a flair for Wembley drama. 2 huge saves in the shootout, one low to his left from McAllister, another diving stop to swat away Elliott, and in between, a whole game of being alert, aggressive, and just the right amount of infuriating for Liverpool fans. Yes, he got done by Frimpong's accidental lob, but if that's a goalkeeper error, it's in the "what am I supposed to do with that?" category, and his body language after each save in the shootout, a little swagger, a little nod, said everything about the confidence he was running on. Justin Devenny, the unlikeliest of heroes, comes on late, not to shore things up, not to bring a burst of energy down the wing, but to be a potential penalty taker. Imagine being told by your manager, "Yeah, you'll be our 5th. That's pressure, that's weight. And he just brushes it off, sends Alisson the wrong way. And suddenly he's at the bottom of a red and blue pile of bodies. His last kick of the game was literally the winning kick of the match. Ismaila Sarr. My word. He gave Van Dijk problems all day. Wins the penalty for the first equalizer with clever movement and just enough contact to tempt the challenge, then scores the second with that beautiful, off-the-post finish. Every time Palace went direct, he was the outball, the release valve, and you could feel Liverpool's defense tensing whenever he got it in space. Jean-Philippe Mateta, maybe not as ruthless as he would have liked in open play, but that penalty? Cool, clinical, full of self-assurance. His link-up play was underrated too. Those little layoffs to bring Sarr and Eze into the game are what kept Palace from getting swallowed by Liverpool's press. Adam Wharton deserves his own category. Architect. Both Palace goals start with him. For the second, that pass to Sarr is pure art. The weight, the timing, the audacity to even try it. He's 20 years old and already playing with the calm of a seasoned midfield general. Eberechi Eze, flashes of brilliance, ghosting past people, gliding into space, drawing fouls. Maybe not his most decisive game, but every time Palace needed a moment to breathe, he gave it to them. And he nearly scored, if not for Alisson's quick legs. On the other side, Liverpool's new signings were a mixed bag. Hugo Ekitike got his dream start with that sharp opener, looked lively in patches, but will have nightmares about the second-half misses. Florian Wirtz looked every inch the high-class playmaker, drifting between the lines but faded late. Jeremy Frimpong's goal will be one he laughs about for years. Not intentional, but still on the scoreboard. and his direct running did cause Palace issues. Milos Kerkez was energetic down the left, linking well with Wirtz, though he also left acres behind him for Sarr to target. Virgil van Dijk, not his finest hour. Culpable in both Palace goals. The penalty foul was clumsy, and for the second he's wandering out of position like he's sightseeing. Maybe illness last week left him a yard short, but this was not the captain's performance Liverpool needed. Mohamed Salah had a game to forget. Barely involved in open play, misplacing passes, and then ballooning the opening penalty of the shootout so high it's probably still in orbit. For a player of his quality, it was oddly anonymous. Ellison, though, Liverpool can thank him for even making it to penalties. That save from Eze in the second half was pure reflex. His reading of the game was sharp, racing out to cut off Palace breaks, and he guessed right more than once in the shootout, even if Devenny got him in the end. And in the dugouts, Oliver Glasner deserves credit for keeping Palace calm, reminding them they'd get more chances, and then throwing a 21-year-old into the fifth penalty role without blinking. Arne Slot's Liverpool showed flashes of what they can be, but this will sting. The creativity was there, but the defensive structure, especially with those adventurous fullbacks, looked vulnerable all day. When it's all stripped back, this was about nerve. Palace had it when it mattered. Liverpool didn't, and that's why for the second time in 3 months, the red and blue ribbons are fluttering at Wembley. This has been Across the Pitch. Over and out.